we get started, I want to answer Tom's question when I first came in this evening.
Yeah.
He asked me how things were going.
Yeah.
And he talked about the transition. Well, I have recently received my Social Security card that's been updated. And I sent off for my birth certificate, and my name and gender to be changed on my birth certificate. I got the signature card back from that. I know that's going. And I didn't announce it last time, but some of you may have a chance at a later opportunity. I gave my first sermon back on the 24th of June at my church, and I've been asked to do it again. So I'm in the process of trying to think about what to do, and so whenever I do that, I will announce here. This is something that really is patriotic. It's something that's, to me, very dear to me. Some of you may remember Red Skelton.
Yeah.
Yes.
Red was a well-known comedian. He had a TV show on TV, but he did something many years ago that to me is very touching, and it very much applies even today. Back in 1969, Red did a skit called The Little Old Man. This was as a teacher. The time was 1923. The students had just finished reciting the Pledge of Allegiance, which at the time was about 10 years old. The old sage called the children together and said, "Boys and girls, I have been listening to you recite the Pledge of Allegiance all semester, and it appears that it has become monotonous to you. Or could it be that you do not know the meaning of those words? If I may, I would like to recite the Pledge of Allegiance and give you the definition of the words. I, meaning me, an individual, a committee of one. Pledge, dedicate all my worldly goods to give without self-pity. Allegiance, my love and my devotion. To the flag, our standard, Old Glory, a symbol of freedom. Wherever she waves, there is respect, because your loyalty has given her a dignity that shouts freedom in everybody's job. Of the united. That means we have all come together. States, individual communities that have united into 48 great states. 48 communities divided with imaginary boundaries, yet united to a common cause. And that's love of country, of America. And to the Republic, a state in which the sovereign power is invested. And representatives chosen by the people to govern. It is the government, and the government is the people, and it is from the people to the leaders, not the leaders to the people, for which it stands. One nation, meaning so blessed by God, indivisible, incapable of being divided, with liberty, which is freedom and the right of power to live one's life without threats or fear of any sort of retaliation. And justice, the principle and quality of dealing fairly with others, for all, which means, boys and girls, it is much your country as it is mine. Since I was a small boy, 2 states have been added to our nation, and 2 words have been added to the Pledge of Allegiance, under God. Wouldn't it be a pity if someone said, that is a prayer, and that would be eliminated from our schools also?
Gotta stand. Thank you for mocking my sobriety.
You're welcome.
Thank you for wearing yellow. And I had no idea that this was my concept for the theme. I guess I was shooting my mouth off again when drunk. I've had dog days. 14-hour shifts as a chef. Loading tanks of propane into a truck with a lit cigarette dangling out of my mouth. Hitting that snooze button 10 times in a row because you're not ready to face reality and all it demands. Cursing at your coding while staring at the screen because something is just one pixel off and your art director is an asshole. And let's not forget about your ex-girlfriend's dog. He needed to be walked twice a day. A duty which I accepted. But the damn dog wouldn't drop a deuce unless she was around. But now, I have cat nights. For I have adopted a bratty little bastard named Hissy Elliott. The beautiful green eyes of this spit-matted fluff ball become the dilated pupils of a bad acid trip once the sun sets. And as I doze off to dreamland, my concrete floors become a place to smash the go pedal. She becomes the fast and the furriest East Side Drift. And my vodka-full bladder becomes a springboard so that she can triple Lindy into the windowsill just to stare in the darkness. Nocturnal predator ready to pounce. And I'm just a pothead ready to go see DJ Pillows and Club Sheets. Nothing rouses me from sleep faster, not even gunfire, than a cat's whiskers against my face as I snooze. I'm a New York kid. I think it's a roach. And then she shows me her asshole up close as if it's a personal point of pride. Or a way of saying, hey, asshole, I can see the bottom of my food bowl. I'm gonna die! But now I have a cat. A cat that keeps me up at night through torture. She's a Maine Coon, so I don't know where the Spanish Inquisition element came in. People in Maine are really nice and they have good pancake syrup. But now I have a cat. One who attempts to kill me every morning when I stumble out of bed and nearly trip over everything that she has dragged off of a horizontal surface as if it were a toy simply because it made noise. Like her. Like me. She's gotten in the habit of curling up in bed with me. Beautiful. But after a few touches, she's just out of arm's reach, claiming the other side of the bed as her own. Typical girlfriend given my spins around the sun. But now I have a cat, and I love her. And just remember, dogs have masters, cats have staff.
Okay, more about the cat. So I want to tell just a very funny little story about when we were leaving Kitty Hawk, North Carolina, in this 10,000-mile road trip around the U.S. And I, not thinking, put her in the Jeep and left her there for an hour while I cleaned up the condo or the beach house that I was leaving, and didn't put a litter box in there for her. Oh. She had not used a litter box in our drive across the entire state of North Carolina, so I thought, oh, okay, so she doesn't need it, she'll be just fine. And it wasn't until we got on the highway and she started circling around inside the Jeep, and she's just crying and crying, and I'm like, what is her problem? And then all of a sudden, she sits on the side of on the passenger seat, and she just begins urinating. Ooh. And I start saying, "Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God." And there's really nothing, so I'm like, okay, there's nothing for me to do because we're going 75 miles an hour. And then she walks over onto my lap and crouches down and just begins to just drop. And I start petting her because now I feel really bad for her because she's got to be just completely miserable. And I'm petting her and I'm like, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. So the first exit I could get off, I did so. Got out of the vehicle, the poop just flew right off, and then I had to figure out a way to clean up the side of the passenger seat. So I tell you that because it'll make sense when I read this.
Wow.
Act 1, good morning. I have upended her daily program again with our drive out of Michigan. This is not the only reason she disrupts my sleep. The hour later than what it seems because we left the east and entered a central time zone. But I am recovering from driving mode, unable to nod off until after midnight, sleeping longer than normal in these windy South Dakota mornings. It begins with the soft pawing of my cheeks until I emit a grunt. The blankets still wrapped around my shoulders and neck. Always, she's the first to lull me from my dreams, which I resent because they're thought-provoking. I need more time in them to remember whatever it is that my subconscious is trying to teach. But the paw brushes against my cheek again, until I push out a second grunt, then a third. Act 2, get up. Strolling over my body, she begins at my ankles, slightly zigzagging upward, moving her languid legs over me, back and forward, until she is walking across my chest. Sometimes she pauses there, or on my arm if I'm lying on my side, the full weight of her 12 pounds pressing into me from her front paws. Refusing to open my eyes, I shake my shoulders and mumble, "Darn it!" She leaves my upper body and does another walkabout, across my stomach, then my thighs, then back up to my abdomen again. I know the moment eye contact is made, meowing will begin. Oh, but I have passed out of the depth of sleep that would allow me to return to dream state. Why so early? I know what she wants, as I feel her shift, then jump off my body, crouching on the side of the bed near my head, her breath close to my own. Even though I cannot see, I can sense her wide open stare, those blue eyes impatiently waiting for my still closed brown ones to open. She inches closer and closer until the furry muzzle is almost under my blanket. I can resist no more. My eyelids flutter open, and even though the tip of her face is buried in my blanket and her eyes are no longer facing mine, she knows I am awake. A tender meow confirms. Yes, I laugh. I know what you want. I lift up the covers, creating a makeshift tunnel, a place she can burrow into, then circle around until she plops down, the length of her body stretched against mine. I scratch the sides of her mouth, wondering if she'll let me fall back to sleep. Each stroke I offer matched by a droop of my lids. Ah, but I know better. If I try to nod off now, the knuckles of my hand will feel a slight pressure from her teeth, harder each time I hesitate to scratch. Sometimes the pawing to my cheeks will come back, but this time with the ever so light touch of a claw. She will not be satisfied until my hand moves from her face to a soft belly rub, and this is when the purring begins. If I fail to stay awake and the belly rub stops, a slight meow comes just before the not-so-tender love bite. "Ow!" I say in my owner's voice. She backs off, but not until she feels the scratching again. Act 3, real sleep. An hour later, I have showered and dressed. 2 hours later, she is fast asleep on the spot where my warm body once lay. If I try to disrupt her sleep as she did mine, I am reminded with a quick swipe that one of us has wicked sharp nails and it is not me. After sleeping for 2 hours on the bed, she lifts her head up and looks for her owner. When she spies me, her lethargic cat body raises itself up, arching first her spine for a long stretch, followed by 1 or 2 back legs flinging themselves out and behind her. The next time I notice, she is standing by my chair, looking up with anticipation, waiting for me to stop typing and to pull away from the table so she can land safely on my lap. I click save. I know the routine. She wants a new, warm place to rest, and until she gets this, there will be no error-free typing. I guess I should just be happy that I'm not being pooped on.
About cats so far. But I really tried and it just didn't come. But I'm just coming back from Spain where I just traveled with 15 teenagers. And so it's more about that. The first one's called Tordesillas. It's an old world, one I enjoy. The lilt of Spanish, the coziness of La Plaza, dando la vuelta, a slow way of life, savored like wine. Time to saludar y platicar con todo el mundo. The direct way of speaking, full of dramatic gestures and booming voices. La fruteria, la carniceria, la bodega. The soft rhythm of time strolling across the sky. La comida casually blending into la cena with the fragrance of una copa. Friendships that last a lifetime and family that ties you to the earth. Architecture that tucks seamlessly into the landscape. All curves and flores salvajes reclaiming the upturned stone. Buildings soak in history, cool caves wind like a labyrinth beneath our feet. La gente anda, comfortable in their own skin. Mi amor, mi cielo, rolling like water off their tongues. No one pretends to be anything but human, with all the faults and vices that give sabor a la vida, that makes us unique and precious. But still, under all this harmony, there is a hidden sin, un pecado, that no one wants to confess. You see, I am in the heart of colonialism. This is where the art of domination was perfected and exported all over the globe. I can't help but wonder if what I'm enjoying is the wealth, las sobras, that they brought back from Las Americas. The relaxed lifestyle granted to those who live off other people's sweat. I'm both shocked and implicated when the guide in the museum talks of the discovery of the New World. I didn't know people still talk like that without putting it entre comillas. Tordesillas is where Spain and Portugal split the New World between them. This pueblo's nefarious claim to fame. However, everyone talks about it as a point of pride rather than vergüenza. There's no remorse or even acknowledgement for the ancient worlds they were destroying, enslaving, and plundering in the process. Only a little embarrassment for the regretful error of geography. Yet I blend into the sea of white faces, comfortable, despite being halfway around the globe. Las raíces son iguales. We have yet to atone for our sins of slavery, slaughter, and devastation. There's a mural in la calle, a la plaza que me encanta y la paso todos los días. It reminds me of the truth behind the facade, the layered story floating beneath the surface. There is an indigenous woman with the árbol de la vida sprouting from her head, tears falling from her eyes. She's a mountain with una herida profunda, from where a wooden cross pierces her flesh, a deep gash tears the earth in two. To the west, Spain pulls her apart. To the east, Portugal. Both men, noble men, with flags to identify them, but nothing is noble about what they do. This is the role of artists, to hold the magnifying glass to our own skin and to hold it there, even when it burns. When I was 16, the age of these kids, I was attacked and raped in Spain. So going back to Spain was pretty intense for me because I was their age when that happened. And here I was with 15 teenagers traipsing across Spain. And this one came to me one day when I was running, and it's called Redemption. Your breath called me over the sea, my body tense, resistant, stubborn. But today I felt your air on me, kiss of angel's wings whispered across my skin, and my pores opened to hear you. Sudden intake of air to recover what I once lost. Like a precious trinket shimmering beneath the water, I remembered the innocence you stole. The last time I walked this earth. You stole what was never yours. And now she calls me back to reclaim it. And I run, muscles strong, lion ink bold on my arm, music pounding in my veins as I find my way back. To hold you, to console you, to tell you it will be all right. That we overcome and rise above in the end. Looking back, it is he who turns to dust, and I walk triumphant into the sunset.
I haven't been here in a while because I went to go to North Carolina.
All right, okay, I like it.
North Carolina. Okay, this is Sauce. I spent the afternoon with Sauce, basking in her loving arms, soaking in her warmth and love, letting all else float away. Knowing my problems will still be there when I return, and yet I will be looking at them differently. And so I spent another afternoon with Sauce, a blanket spread out for only me, upon white, warm sand, on a warm Texas February day, facing the ocean, listening to the music of the waves rocking me to sleep. Nothing important was on my mind, just soaking up love, enough to last me for a week until I returned. Trying to reach Source, knowing I can do it now. I kept climbing higher and higher, passing the spot where pain ceased to exist. Bit by bit, my earthly thoughts fell away, leaving me even more capable of climbing upward. But maybe upward isn't quite correct. Maybe it's more inward or heartward. My angel wings upon my back, so huge, I can see them now on this plane, whereas once before I couldn't. My kiss warm and sweet, chocolate and seductive, roaming over your body inch by inch, traveling slowly, taking years to complete this journey, at the end only to find a tall oak tree standing. The breath, misunderstood, so often ignored. Take long, deep breaths, fill your body and your mind, relax. Breathing deeply will bring the changes that you need. So simple. Love me tender. You know that song, love me tender. All right. I walked into our bedroom, lit only by a few candles. You were waiting for me. I could feel your eyes on me as I undressed. Without saying anything, I climbed into our bed, naked. Your arms drew me into your chest. Laying there for a while, I could feel your hot breath breathing into my ear, letting me know you were ready. Your hotness oozed out of you, grabbing me and not letting go. This is called the past. The past, a word here and a word there, and into my life, my past comes roaring back furiously, wave after wave, washing over anything that stands in its way, kicking all else out except sad memories that only exist in my mind. It is time for them to leave. I no longer want them in my life. I am welcoming in joy. It should be arriving any moment. This was March 16, 2016, and it hasn't arrived. This is the elevator. Rickety as an old, going up, letting people off on different floors until only two were left, me and this white-haired lady. Standing at opposite sides of the elevator, I turned so that I could see her more clearly and found her looking at me. Together, when the doors opened, we got off, leaving the elevator to continue its journey. Do I have more time?
I'll bring you.
Well, these are called bits and pieces. They're just sort of like one little lines that I've collected. So one is like walk in your light. Another is keep your life simple, leaving plenty of room to change your mind again and again. Another one is there is no purpose other than to experience joy. There is generosity in everyone, just buried a bit deeper in some. Another, some things you have to experience yourself. Another one is, I take great delight in teasing my audience. Another is, follow your heart, not your mind. Another is, my poetry is the gateway to my soul. Another is, my poems are my songs. I will sing them for you if you like. Another, love will make the world sparkle. Another is, how does one continue one's life when the rules are constantly changing? There is no end and no definite beginning either. Each part of his body opens the door to memories that are locked up. No end, no beginning, just this moment. Remove all your don'ts and see what remains. Remove your limits and flaws. What would your life be like? Sometimes one has to clean one's desk to see what is beneath. Rubbish has to be removed.
And last but not least,
Yeah. That's the last.
That's all.
I have 3 feral cats in my life, but I want you to join in with me and say after me, using your full body attentive, full moon!
Full moon.
Come on now, don't be armless. Half the moon!
Half moon.
Crescent moon!
Crescent moon.
Hardly moon at all!
Hardly
Moonless night!
Moonless night.
Sunshine!
Sunshine.
Rain!
Rain.
Rain for us!
Rain for us.
Rainforests!
Rainforest.
That's how they're made. Okay, grass!
Grass.
Snake!
Snake.
Watch out for snakes in the grass.
Snakes in the grass.
A fence!
A
A
fence.
ladder!
Ladder.
A house!
House.
Lightning!
Lightning.
Storm clouds!
Storm clouds.
Little puffy white clouds!
Rainbows.
Rainbows!
Rainbows.
Alternative rainbows!
Rainbows.
It's Austin, come on. Do you believe in the power of poetry?
Yes.
Do you believe I can take the moon and put it in a bucket?
Yes.
Okay, there's the moon, come on now.
Here's the moon.
Here's the bucket.
Here's
All right. I have a cat. What sound does a cat make?
Meow.
When I say cat, you say?
Meow.
I have a cat.
Meow.
Rather, my neighbor has a cat
Meow.
called Sally. Sally is a white Persian, likes to climb over the fence, especially when the moon is full. You sing a cat song.
Meow.
It's 3 a.m., an impossible full moon balmy morning. I can hear Sally singing a cat song. She's up on the rooftop, singing in Texan. Which translated is, I'm stuck on the roof and can't get down. You better help me now or make your life hell. So I decided with Prince Gallant I shall rescue Rapunzel from her tower. I take the small rickety yellow ladder next to the house under the full moon. It's been raining a little bit in Austin recently. In my backyard there's a
Bucket.
wakey bucket, yeah. Now, halfway up the ladder, next to the house, under the full moon, right? Now, what happens next? I look down. What do I see? No, she's on the roof. Okay. I'm looking down. I've got a bucket in the backyard, right next to the house. On full moon, I'm on the ladder. Use your brain. Not much there, but use it. Okay. Okay. Now, what do I see when I look down?
the ground.
Yeah, look, the ground is good. Yes. Snake is good. Bucket. Yes. What's in the bucket? The moon. Oh, yeah, that's it. That's it. Bingo. Yeah. I forget all about Sally. Cats can wait. They make us quite enough. Nothing. I think Basho, Edu, Zen, Haiku. I've lived back like a Japanese acrobat, spiritual samurai warrior reincarnated from 13th century. I look up at Sally. Her eyes are full of stars, lightning, rainbows, little puffy white clouds. And it occurs to me how much poetry there may be in one cat's eye.